Welcome to the House of Legends podcast, where great women become exceptional. I am your host, Graciela, founder and CEO of the House of Legends by Graciela, a mindset coach and mother of three beautiful kids. My mission and passion is to provide you with the tools that will allow you to unlock and bring out the best version of yourself, which is the key to all change. Some of those tools are mindset, identity work, and emotional mastery. Not only that, but I will also bring you powerful conversations with legends like you, showcasing their journey, life work, and allowing us to learn from their experiences and insights. So don't miss an episode. Tune in each week to the House of Legends podcast and let's unlock the power of your own legend. Let's dive in today's episode. Welcome back to the House of Legends podcast. Oh God. Today we have an amazing guest, and I know most of the times I say this, yeah, I do have an amazing guest, but she's an amazing guest. Her name is Maria. Maria, of course, you're gonna introduce yourself after. Before I have to say something real quick here. Maria, I met you back in 2024, and for me, you were one of the most important women that brought me not only awareness of the things that I was doing. I'm not gonna say wrong, but I was not aware that changed the way that I see myself now in 2025. I was sharing with you before we would press record that one of the most important things that I learned and I was able to integrate from your teachings is that I get to feel good all the time. And normalizing that was a huge paradigm shift for me. But I can go on and on, Maria. Before you introduce yourself, I know we did two amazing podcasts. By the way, I'm gonna link those on the description here if you want to listen to those, because those are, like I said before to one of my clients, those are timeless podcasts. You can listen to those podcasts and literally transport yourself to that conversation and feel like we're in the three or four together if you're with your partner. All right, Maria, take it over.
Yes. With that, anytime you feel like things are just not flowing in your life as a woman, go back to those podcasts as a reminder that this is why it's not flowing and where you need to put your direction towards. But with that being said, hello, I'm Dr. Maria, and I help women optimize their hormones in a this is the simplest way I can describe, but it's really like just allowing women to understand that the way that we've been behaving our entire lives, the way the society is built, is not with their optimization, with their performance, with their energy in mind. Is really not. And then because of that, of course, we have all of these hormonal problems. That is the consequence. But some of the root causes that women need to start addressing is really understanding that for us to really feel great, we need to start behaving completely different. This is where we start speaking about this shift in paradigm on how to live like a woman versus how to live like a man. So we both have the same results, but doing things differently. And this is really where I want to bring the conversation is to a place where most people won't expect. And I would love that in 2025, women just make it a goal to have like the most regular, pain-free, PMS-free period to just understand that that is the goal and how to get there. And if you do that, if you make it a priority to reach to your healthiest period ever, I guarantee you that the consequences that you are thinking of creating for 2025, which is like, I want to be energized and focused and motivated and have the healthy body and a healthy diet, all of that falls into place. Because in order to have a regular pain-free, PMS-free period, those things need to align. So
Oh,
your goal is for that. It's like every month I get to feel great. I never get to be diminished by pain. I never get to be diminished by this crazy emotional roller coaster I feel like I'm going into. I don't. I never get this is my new standard. 2025, this is new standard. I no longer go below that. But how do I get there, right? And I think the challenge that we have as women is we've been fed this narrative around perfection
Yeah.
that is, in order for us to perform well, we have to behave the same way day in and day out with the same amount of energy and drive. And I think legitimately this is how we wake up and define our success for the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that is not accurate. That goes completely against our biology. This is how we measure success in a male body. If they have the same energy and drive, which they can literally feel it the same way every day, they know that their health is going well. They know that they are showing up well for their bodies. Us is a different way. If we want to behave the same way, but our hormones are changing, our cognitive function is changing, our metabolism is changing, you best believe that you're gonna be constantly in this war feeling against yourself. Like, why nothing is flowing? Why everything is so difficult? Why do I have resistance everywhere? Why feeling happy is so hard at the, to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're never at peace. And this is what women need to understand is in order for you to be at peace, in order for you to feel this balance that you desire so deeply, understand first and foremost the way you've been trying to get there is through the path of the demise of who you are to be like someone else. You have to go through the path that respects who you are, right? And who you are is the moment you get your period is a very cyclical woman that needs changes every single week of every month as you repeat your menstrual cycle, which is usually whatever, let's say 28 to 30 days. Most women will be in that range. And the more you get your head into that, and the more you observe yourself changing as each week passes and noticing the different types of personalities, even that you can have, the more you notice that, the easier it will also be for you to be like, you know what? I do feel differently this week. What do I need to do to really allow myself to feel at peace with this? To not have problems with how I feel differently? And how do I maximize this new me this week? And I know this is going to be hard for most women to hear because we have programs running in our minds of how we should behave based on how society sees what success is and what it is not. And getting out of those programs after like 30 years, even 40 years of repeating the same pattern is going to be challenging. But to make it as super simple as possible is, do you even track your cycle? Are you aware that you have 4 different phases throughout your month? Start there. Find an app that allows you to track your cycle. You can put your period in and you are aware in what phases of your cycle you are. Just start there. Notice, observe, open your app and see, okay, this week I'm in this phase. I noticed this, this, and this, and this. A week later, you open the app. I noticed this, this, and this, and this. Get to know yourself for the first 2 months of the year. Get to know yourself. And then you'll be like, oh my gosh, I am actually different. And it's not a problem. It is normal. And then from then on, we can start getting into the more detailed conversation of like, what does it look like for you to behave cyclically? And this is what we can go into, right?
Yeah, and I love so much here, Maria, the differentiation that you are remarking because for years I used to live in a manner and perform in a way that it was accordingly to a main cycle, to the 24-hour cycle. And used to feel so ashamed, and I'm not gonna just avoid some words. I used to feel so guilty, so ashamed to feel in a certain way in certain days of the month. I used to think that it was because I was lazy, I needed to put more discipline, I needed to put more willpower, or I didn't want the things enough. And instead of those things pushing me, I was punish myself for things actually that are natural from the cycle. And once I get curious, nor trying to battle again, instead I get curious about my cycle, I started understanding, like you mentioned, there are different phases. There are 4 phases. And I have to say it again. I think in your market really, really well here. When it comes to understanding ourselves, we don't have any information. I mean, we have the basics at home, and maybe you are one of the, and I'm going to use this label, and I don't like labels, privileged one that maybe you had a waking parent that she or he teach you all the phases and all that, which is great, but for the majority of us, we only understood about the period and that's it. Those 4 or 5 days or the those days that last year when you're bleeding, but that's it. I was not able to see that, oh, there were other three phases that were actually playing during my month. And I think this conversation is really, really important, Maria, because this affects directly every single area. And for many of us, for many of you ladies that listen to this podcast, you are here also on, you are the leader of your business, you are a CEO, you are a high achiever, and maybe you've been trying for years to, like I said, like I used to experience this before, to be like a male, like even do your workouts or trying to have the same rigid schedule. And if you don't accomplish those to-do lists, you feel really, really bad. So, but when we understand, like Maria mentioned, or the faces, we're able to see that we can actually leverage those faces in our favor. And I'm about to laugh because I was thinking about the way like a mini photo shoot. This friend, she does an amazing makeup, but she has a studio. And I was thinking about, okay, let me check my period. I want to be between this phase and this phase. And this is so fun because before I was just putting any day, and I was not even leverage my energy and leverage my faces. But right now, Maria, if we can go a little bit deeper on each phase you just mentioned, and how those spaces play a different role in how we can show up in our businesses.
Yes. Okay, so to make it really simple,
Yeah,
we are run by two big programs in our body, and you kind of gave a clue to it, which is we have like a 24-hour clock, which is really our body is kind of run by the sense of light and night. And
yeah,
therefore, your genes, depending if it's night or daylight, they decide where it's going to be best for its functions to, be at their peak. For example, your body will usually do the cleansing of the brain at night while you're asleep because that is a very hardcore energizing using a lot of energy to do that. You cannot do that in a day where you're trying to use your brain and functioning and using your energy for so many things. So you do it while you're asleep. So to really simplify this is there's a 24-hour schedule that your body's run by, and it's very important for you to thrive based on that. So you can never ever forget about it. But as a woman, this is where we have completely forgotten about the second program that decides everything for us as well, which is our menstrual cycle hormonal dance. And this rhythm, which are so many hormones involved, is not just the sex hormones that we usually listen to, like the estrogen and the progesterone. There's so much more involved. All of that is deciding what is happening for you. For example, all of those hormones during those 30 days are telling you when is the best time to make muscle, when is the best time to burn fat, when is the best time to work on flexibility, when is the best time to rest. It's also telling you when is the best time to initiate a project, when is the best time to really brainstorm for it, when is the best time to really use the energy of other people and your communication, your voice to really get the project online. It's also telling you when is the time to do the deep work and analyze and see what worked and didn't work. Your cycle is always telling you what to do in so many different ways. And unfortunately, to bring it back to the same thing that we've mentioned, is unfortunately we see the way that we have to construct our day to day in only this 24-hour manner that repeats itself every 24 hours. And we need to start seeing it as, okay, I respect the cycle. I respect the 24 hours. I respect that it's good to go to bed at a specific time. I respect that I have to wake up at a specific time. I respect that there's times during the day where meals are going to be better accepted by my body. I accept all of this, but I also accept that my nutrition will have to shift as my
mm,
cycle is progressing. From the moment that I start bleeding all the way to the end, in those 30 days, there's going to be like, let's say, four big shifts into how to look at food. Same thing with exercise. From the moment that I start bleeding all the way to the end, those 30 days, there are going to be big shifts in how I'm going to use exercise for energy and for longevity and for mass sorry, the muscle mass, and there's going to be a different pattern every time. And so, if I'm going to start with the basics, every woman needs to understand that their cycle will have four big phases that they need to know they're in. And so, usually, the menstrual phase or the period is where everyone knows
Yeah.
about because obviously they see it, they experience it. So, you have maybe like 5 days of bleeding. When those days of bleeding are over, you're stepping into a completely different hormonal makeup, which means the way that you felt in your period will be very different than the week that will come after that. So, those 7 days after your period, you are a completely different human being, especially in the
Mhm.
brain. And the body is asking for less food and is asking for more exercise, and more intense exercise. And then, for example, after those 10 days or 7 days, you're going into this phase of ovulation where really you're having the egg come out of your ovary. And that means a ton of different things for exercise, nutrition, and even like the way you show up into the world and how you can really maximize the fact that you are an incredible speaker at that point. Like, how can you take that into your advantage, especially if you are like a business owner or someone who really needs to use their voice to create business or social media or podcasts, or how can you maximize that so that you can find flow in your energy, less energy spent because of that phase. Every time you decide to go into something that, takes a lot of social energy out of you and you do it in this phase, you are gaining energy from that. So you are being really smart. You are not taking energy away from your body. But if you decide to do it, let's say, for example, in the phase that comes after the ovulatory phase, which is the luteal phase, which every woman needs to know about this phase very well, because this is the phase where everything goes wrong for everyone, is the phase where people will experience the PMS symptoms. If you don't take care of yourself in this phase, it will become a horrible experience. And so, when you step into the luteal phase is really the time to know that your body is building this huge lining in the uterus that is involving so many things. So much blood is gonna come out of you full of minerals, full of vitamins, full of iron. Like all of these parts of you are getting out. And your body is taking so much work to put it all back into the uterus so that you can shed. That week is important that you understand that your whole biology is asking for more food and less intensity in whatever you're doing with your day to day, including exercise. So, how can you step down a little bit, but still moving, still working out, still doing the right thing, but without exhaustion? When you get to exhaustion, you've gone against that cycle of hormones that I'm always talking about, like this other program that runs women. And so I know that I mentioned like many different things just to give people an awareness that there is actually a lot that changes, and this sounds overwhelming, and of course it will be when you hear it for the first time coming from me like this. But if we can narrow it down to just like nutrition and exercise, it can be really clear on how your body shifts throughout those 30 days, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think and I mentioned in both podcasts, we already did two podcasts, that Maria, you are, and I have to say it here, you're the first doctor that I felt that for the first time I was speaking with a friend. I was not feeling this structure, like narrow, constructive conversation. The way that you explain it is so fluid, so clean, so yeah, I mean, so certain that anyone can understand this. And if you want to go deeper, of course, there's the other two podcasts when we went in depth. But it's really clear right now that the way that you mentioned those phases and how those phases we can approach them, we can leverage them in the way that we move through our life with the exercises, with the nutrition. And thanks God that you gave me that another key. And like I said, like for me, integration is key. Where you gave me this permission to sleep of you can eat more. Like, actually, you can eat more and you're not gonna
You
gain weight.
need you
I was
need
like,
to eat more.
and I was like, okay, maybe it's just my mind that is trying to self-sabotage me, whatever. And I started making those changes and I felt for the first time great. Even when I do have a protocol, of course, and exercises and goals and intentions and body achievements that I want to accomplish, I felt great. And I was like, is this normal? And I was remember, I think I said this before. I was like, yeah, Maria said that it's normal, and it's just so fucking normal to feel really good. But
Yes.
was a word that I started to implement a couple months ago. And this is one of the things that I want you, if you can extend a little bit more, Maria, when someone is listening to this conversation, or maybe she's aware of some of the posts here and there that we read or on Instagram or Facebook about talking about the or menstrual cycle, the phases. What it will be the next step for her? Because it's so easy just to enter into the play of information and feeling really, really great by reading or by listening to something. What is the next step for that conscious woman who is now commanding her health, that she's now deciding that this year is not only going to be her year, but this year is going to mark the before and after, that she's going to declarate, she's gonna actually put her health first, and also she's willing to do the work.
Yes. I think the most simple way to do it is if you're going to do it by yourself, the less overwhelming way to do it is, of course, I'm assuming that you've made the decision, okay, I'm going to give this concept a try. So far, what I've actually done has not worked for me because I am exhausted, tired, sick, full of problems, full of symptoms. I'm not happy, right? So let me give this cyclical concept a try, test the waters. So first and foremost, are you aware of where you are in all of those four phases? So if you're not tracking your cycle, you're never going to know where you are. If you don't know where you are, you're never aware. If you're never aware, action is way harder to implement. So the first month of January or now, don't let January start, like start now, is I highly recommend one specific app because it's visually exactly what you need to know where in your period, sorry, where in your cycle you are, whatever phase you are. And that app is from Xlviii, which is really like a lot of the founder of these cyclical concepts. And her app is called My Flow. So MYFLO, My Flow. Download that. All you have to do is really like put the first data of like where your period was, and the cycle will start to get to know you. Are you a 28-day girl? Are you a 27, 25? Are you a 32? And based on that, it will give you more or less how long it thinks you stay in those four phases. And therefore, when you do that, let's say today is Tuesday, I open my app and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm on day 4 of my luteal phase. I know how deeply this phase is going to feel in this way, in this way, in this way. I'm already normalizing my experience throughout the day. I'm aware of what's happening. I'm focused on just knowing me. And I did this through so many cycles until I'm like, for me now it's easy to catch when I'm transitioning from one to another. And I literally just validate by opening my app and like, of course I am in this phase. I knew it. But this comes with like so much time of getting to know yourself. So first step is track, see where you are, visually understand where you are, and get that groove in. When you're done with that and when you're ready to take the next step, you're like, okay, from now on, every month from now on, I'm going to focus on one thing only. And I'm going to master this one thing in a cyclical way. So I think the easiest way for women is nutrition
Yeah.
because it's really like it's almost black and white. If we could put a line down the middle in our whole 30 days where we have like let's say 14, 14, whatever, 15, 15, the first 15 days and the last 15 days, they will be completely different in the way that you eat. And the only thing that you have to remember is in the first 15 days, so in your follicular and ovulatory phase, after so from the last day that you bled all the way to ovulation, usually 14 days, those days are for the behavior of someone who really wants to create momentum with their physical body. So people who are really like, yes, I want to build muscle. Yes, I want to lose fat. This is the moment for that with nutrition as well. So your body requires less calories, so you have less appetite, and your body allows you to go crazy with your workouts. It allows you to do that without severe consequences with cortisol or the stress hormone. Without being said, there's a little caveat. If you are struggling with a lot of hormonal symptoms, you need to do this differently. And this, you have to work with someone who knows what they're doing. But let's say that you have just, you have a decent cycle. Maybe you do have some symptoms here and there. You can still try this way. So those first 14 days is you can eat less. You don't really need complex carbohydrates. So you really can be more on the ketogenic type of diet. Your body will do well with that. So protein, healthy fats, a lot of veggies. That will do so well for you. Your body will love that, and you can really push the workouts. Like that is how you get results nutrition based in that phase. As soon as you stop ovulating, meaning as soon as you stop the ovulatory phase and you step into the luteal phase, again, girls, ladies, women, this is the phase, the luteal phase after you've ovulated, where all hands on deck. Okay? All hands on deck. You are thinking, my body needs a lot more support, and I am not about to not listen to what it needs. So it needs almost 300 more calories in food. And those foods need to be complex carbohydrates. Okay. So you're eating the same way that you were eating for the weeks before, but now you're always thinking, do I have enough complex carbs in my plate? Do I have, non-processed complex carbs? Non-processed complex carbs is everything that nature provides that is more starchy, that is not obviously on the processed side. So a lot of sweet potatoes, normal potatoes, the carrots, the root vegetables, the pumpkins, the chickpeas, the lentils, anything that you can tolerate in that phase that is a complex starchy carb. This is what you will need to not feel the crazy cravings that most women feel, which is, why do I need to eat? Like, if you don't know that you need to eat more, this is how the loop goes. You're like, la la la, I feel great in my ovulatory phase. I'm amazing in this phase. I really feel like I'm getting momentum with my results. I feel like I'm eating well. I'm not craving things. And then suddenly it's like a little shift. Your body goes like, ah, why am I so hungry today? No, but I
Mhm.
can't eat anymore. Like I can't eat anymore. Like I've eaten what I usually eat and that's it. And then like literally an hour later, you're like, but I'm starving. I need to eat something quick. And then you go for the sugar and you go for the quick thing. And then you feel guilty and you're blah, blah. And you go into this loop. All because you didn't know that the only thing you had to do was to add maybe, let's say, a handful of a quarter of a plate of complex carbs to stop you from ever feeling this way. And your body is naturally burning all of these calories for the purpose of the uterus being built. So you're not keeping anything in. Your body is using this extra thing on purpose because you need it. When you don't eat that, you will always have the what I call raiding the fridge at the end of the day, where you open your fridge, you open your cupboards, whatever's there is going in, and you're like, bum, 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 bum. That was me my whole life, literally, whole life. I had the worst food cravings during my luteal phase. I literally could not. No one could be in front of me. I would literally punch them in the face to get to the thing in my cupboard. So this is if women can see nutrition this way, I was like, first 14 days is really amazing. I actually don't need that much food. The next 14 days, I need a little bit more, and that's okay because I have a whole thick lining of blood that my body needs calories for, so that I don't feel hungry, so that I don't feel grumpy, so that I don't feel mood swings, so that I don't feel the fatigue. Like, isn't that worth it? And especially you're not gaining any weight from that. It's just who you are. That's how you have to operate. And the story that we have is, if we're not eating the same way every day and we have more calories on our plates, we're going to gain weight. And it's not calories in, calories out like that. Because women have a whole side of their bodies, like building a whole uterus lining to create a baby that men don't. So just there and there, biology is already wrong. Like the way they test things is already like the predefined line where they say women are little men is wrong. They don't have the same biology as us. We have to think differently. So when it comes to nutrition, this is the baseline. And I think this will change a woman's entire year if they start following this advice.
Oh, I love it so much. And this actually, I mentioned that this part changed a lot the relationship with food itself for me. And And when we feel this way, I think this comes to the second part as well here. Um, the way that we shop in business, the way that we actually shops in every single area of our lives get to change. And I think this is really, really important, especially for like we mentioned before, for the high achiever, the CEO, the woman who's doing things, amazing things here online. If we're not taking care of ourselves, if we're pushing, 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 at one moment or another, our body's gonna is gonna react. So why we want to wait until that moment, why this is the perfect moment, and we don't have to wait. I think you made it really, really clear, Maria, to start the next Monday we can start making those changes. Just track your period. She gave us an amazing I think you said myflow.com, myflow,
Yeah,
the app.
My Flow, and if you write that My Flow app, you'll get it.
And then from there, we can start making those small changes, and those small changes compound. I think that is a huge part as well. We have to understand that this is a process. We've
Yeah.
been working our bodies in one way, maybe for years, for decades, and this could change really rapidly. I'm not going to say that it's going to take you years, but you have to be mindful and walk with intention.
And you know what's funny is that something so simple as let me just include a little bit more of carbohydrates can be the thing that indeed surprises you of how much impact it has in the energy you have, in the motivation that you have that those 2 weeks that you are in the luteal phase just before your period. It can be just adding a tiny bit of food can really make that impact. Yes, because your whole hormonal system that decides who you are and how focused you are is not being put into pressure, into stress mode. Therefore, it is showing up for you. You can rely on it. And this is why like it can be so simple to have such a huge result that we think takes so much effort, but it really doesn't. It's like the more connected, the more cyclical you are, the better the outcome will be always.
You mentioned one word that I want to highlight, and I think it's the connection within ourselves, coming back home,
Yep.
really coming back home, not trying to do what other woman is doing on her end, if instead going within and ask for help. And you gave us an amazing guide, an overall guide that anyone that are listening to this podcast, listen, download that app, put your period, walk the path. Give
Yes.
it a try for a couple of months, track, make those changes and see and experience. Because when we get to experience, when we are walking the path, we can see if that is working, of if we want additional support. I don't like to use the word need. I think you know what is best for you. You know what is best for you in business. You know what is best for you when it comes to your health. You know what is best for you when it comes to maybe a skill set that you need to learn, maybe relationships, you name it. You are the one who deeply knows. Right here, the question, after you tracking your period for a few months, seeing those small changes, if you desire amazing personal support, customized support, here's Maria. And I would love to ask you, Maria, what is the protocol? What is the if someone maybe she has been tracking her period and now she desires, she's ready, she's committed for professional support like the one that you offer. What is your protocol for 2025?
So I have different ways of working with women because it depends on how obviously how severe they're experiencing their cycle. But let's say if someone who's been tracking, they feel decently okay, maybe they have a little symptom here and there, not like an explosion of problems. That means like we need to go even deeper. If that's the case, like I take that woman and I really put her in I call it the art of cycle syncing. I put it in the program and I just make her a really good expert in her own body by teaching her first, at the same time helping her implement, optimize. We're always in touch like with DMs because that's really important. That's how they really get momentum. And so by the end, let's say of like 4 months working together in a cyclical way, by month 4, she's really tuned in. She's really happy with the changes. She's seeing that it makes sense. She's happy, meaning like happy with her cycle, not like, oh, why is it like this? She's starting to really understand it's a blessing because the cycle was given to us with the intention of helping us construct our life. Because when we speak about what the cycle actually does to our brain, is the cycle will every month you have the opportunity to create momentum with your life, meaning adding a new layer of something, of an action that you want, making it work the right way, and then analyzing it at the end. And the cycle, literally, those four phases that I described, they do this to your brain. They say, brain, we're starting a project. Brain, we're creating more momentum in the project. Brain, we're finalizing the project. And because of that, different skill sets come up on purpose so that you can move forward. You can create momentum. You can understand who you are, what you want, what you desire, what makes sense to you. And there's never a moment where we're stuck because we have a cycle. And that is the biggest blessing. You will never not have an opportunity to unstuck yourself. You just need to know where and how do I use my cycle for that. And like you said, we have been disconnected for a long time. Therefore, it seems so much harder to tune in to what we already know. Everything is inherent, it's there. The information is there. Your body is not going to suddenly shift because you understand the concept. You're just paying attention to what you purposely denied for so long because you thought that was the only way to be accepted into this society. Obviously, I'm not saying quit your job and do it this way, do it like me. I'm saying even within a society whose the corporate world is based on the 24-hour schedule, even if you have that role, you can see so much more improvements in who you are, in your health, in your life at home, in your relationship with yourself, and just that will also allow you to show up in your job so much better. So yeah, like I think women are will start this revolution of becoming cyclical again. It has already started like 20 years ago, but now it's really gaining momentum. And we see it this like everyone's talking about cycle syncing. Everyone's talking about their cycle and the menstrual problems that aren't shouldn't be normal. Like this is becoming a thing, and I'm sure like in 4 years from now, most women will know that they have four phases.
And one of the things that I want to say here, Maria, because you said you have many women, and sometimes we think that many women know about this, but not many. I have to say it as well. But many women are talking about the cycle, and now they're understanding more about themselves. But no one that I know do it the way that you do it, Maria. And I have to remark it again. You are an amazing professional, but you're also like kind and open. And you are one of the women that we want to listen. You have this beautiful balance between directing us, but also being soft, understanding. But this kind of no bullshit kind of I love you think. I love kind of that approach because sometimes people can be really direct, like you have to do this and this, that we close up, we don't want to like even to share, or they're really so sweet and so soft that we don't feel that they're able to hold a space, not to do the work for ourselves but to hold the space. But you have this beautiful balance. So if you want to work with someone who's professional, who's direct, who's no bullshit, but also she hold the space without any judgment, and you can feel the truly care and love the person is Maria. And I have to say it really here.
You're
This
so sweet.
has been
Thank you
here.
so much. I appreciate that.
You're so welcome. This being,
So
yeah, all for it.
I want to say, I want to leave this podcast with if there's one question you can ask yourself every month out of the next year, January, February, March, ask this question in your follicular phase. As you are starting every single one of your follicular phases, just ask yourself, how do I live in more alignment with my hormones this month? And a little answer will be, okay, I still need to feel more aware of who I am. So, okay, this month I'm still focusing on just seeing where I am in my cycle. Just noticing that these differences that as I was told that I experience, right? Because you have to experience it yourself. And then the next month you ask again. And then you're like, okay, you know what? I think I'm ready to start seeing foods in a cyclical way. I'm ready to start eating a little bit differently. And then you start that way. That is the most successful way that you can do it. At every follicular phase, again, you have the opportunity to start something with different action. Your body is requiring you to behave that way. It's the easiest way to implement is starting that week. How do I do it? And your body, your brain which is in brain, like, oh my gosh, your brain in that phase is just, this is why like the cycle is so exciting because in the follicular phase, your brain is giving you all of the possible tools to brainstorm and get all of the ideas that you want. And you are brilliant at doing that. That's why if you ask this question in that phase, how do I become in more alignment with my hormones this month? Answers will come. They might not be super elaborate, but they will be a clue to where you have to redirect yourself because your brain is really dominating in that area of the problem solving creativity. And this is so amazing because like when you get to know all of this and use it for even like hard questions of your life, and you know what, like I've been struggling with this, I've been struggling with this, like I really don't know how to get through this. You're like, you know what? I have a cycle. I can use these 4 phases to get action, solutions, problem solving, momentum of analyzing. I can get it. And this question of my life that is becoming the hardest problem to solve can suddenly feel so much lighter because I am using a gift that I have, which is my cycle. It's amazing.
That is so powerful. And like I think I'm remarking for so many times like this thing, Maria, but the excitement, the way that you speak, the way that you embody the word. You're not no, I was sharing this phrase on one of my posts, but I think all comes back here as well. Like you not only know the word, you are the work.
Mm.
You are the work. You have walked the path, and I can truly feel that. And I know the listeners will feel that, and they will reach out for sure. Before we wrap up here, and I know you've been here for 2 times before, and I asked this question, but I'm adding another question in the question as well, because we are always evolving, we're always changing, and the answer can change. Maybe
Okay.
the destination, right? So the first question that it goes, like I said, together with this as well. What is your superpower, Maria, and what is your word for 2025?
Ooh. Word. I haven't thought about the word, but it will come to me. My superpower, to be honest, you said it, and it's like your own intuition already answering to this question. My superpower right now is being able to hold a space for women where I can show up in their own duality, which is their cyclical way of being, their more feminine energy, and also bringing the masculine when it needs to be. Really balancing it out in the way my clients learn and get guided and supported. And I really am really good at adapting at the person in front of me. So I think that's my gift. And because of that, I feel like people feel supported in ways that they've never experienced, which is, it's not like a dictatorship. You either do it this way or you fail. It's like, in what ways can we create this for you? Because you are unique compared to me. The way that I live my life will not fit yours. Therefore, I cannot make myself an example. We have to create optimization for you. And I think this is where I shine. And my word, I think, will be related to my own process that I'm going through right now, which is just focusing on my worth, like focusing on how can 2025 really be a demonstration that like I will always show up for myself in the way that I know I deserve rather than just accepting bare minimum type of thing.
Mm. And you know what? And I add this word for the year, because when we have that as an intent, like you mentioned before, maybe it's not that clear fully yet, but when we put it out there, or mind, you name it, the feel will start reflecting that back. And I think before we press record in the first minutes of our conversation, we were talking about this, about understanding that we are the prize. And this is not coming from an ego. This is not coming from, I'm in the pedestal no more than you. It's actually, you know what, when we see ourselves like, I am the fucking prize. I've been working in myself. I've been walking the path. I am the only ones who go to bed. I am the only ones who take a shower with myself. I am the only one who has been on her knees asking to God or source or universe, depending, and this is not about religion thing. I am the only ones who know the inner battles. You know what? I'm gonna allow myself, I like to use the word allowed, and permission to fully own and see me as that woman without any validation, without anything. And I love to use this analogy, and I know this is kind of related, but it's not, but it has contained the essence. It's like we don't wait to be in shape to go to the gym. We go to the gym. We, even if we don't like how we look, we go, we behave, we eat, we train, we do our research about the things that we want. And it's the same thing for ourselves here when it comes to self-worth, when it comes to understanding the fucking deep value that as a woman we get to offer. And not only offer, only our presence. We're when it comes to understand that it's not about convincing, it's not about trying, it's about understanding that, you know what, my energy, who I am, all the experiences and wisdom are enough. And the people that are not ready to reflect that, they are ready to live from my field. And that's totally okay. Because if I'm willing to choose myself, which I am the most important person, and call it, people can call it selfish or you name it, I don't care. When I give myself that, immediately people will reflect that because I don't need that, if that makes sense. So I think that that is really important for ourselves to recognize that we are the prize. We are the ones.
That's
We are
1,000%.
the prize. We are the that phrase, and it's funny. Back in 2021, one of my friends, he told me, he's like 60 something. He's like he was a mentor of mine. He said, "You are the prize. All the woman, you are the prize. You are the prize. What are you talking about? About this? You are the prize." And I was like, yeah. I was not able to understand that, but right now it's like, yeah, I am the prize, and who's willing to meet me in that standard, amazing, and who's not, even if I felt for temporary, for a couple of minutes, week, not that good with that decision, I'm still gonna choose myself. And I think when we choose ourselves, which we're not only give to ourselves the things that we want, but we can show up in a better way.
Yeah, like why are we every day delaying feeling the best that we can in the body that we were given? Why are we delaying that? And I think that's also taking responsibility with your like take responsibility for your life. Like responsibility means that you have to know that you're putting yourself there, you are creating your environment, and in order for it to change, you need to put in action. And if you know all of this about yourself, if you know that you are worth it, if you know that you are deserving, if you know that you have the best body to guide you through like an amazing life and help you through the questions and the feelings that you're gonna get, why are you still delaying being able to get to this point? Why is delaying? Like also answer that because a lot of people will be in
Yeah.
resistance in 2025. A lot of people will stay there like I'm sure you listen to this podcast not wanting to stay in resistance. So like, why am I allowing myself to stay there? Get that answered as well, because know where you're not taking responsibility for your life and also change that.
Yeah, and sometimes, and this could be another different topic, but podcast, but sometimes unconsciously we're getting a payoff, the payoff
Yeah.
of the story that who I'm gonna be without a story, who I'm gonna be without this struggle, I don't even know who I'm gonna be without this heavy thing that I've been carrying on my shoulder. And when you understand the payoff, you can decide from there. You can decide that I'm willing to make this change. And I think all comes also back to being honest and having this willingness of change, having the willingness to start wherever we are and from there moving forward. And
Yeah.
coming back as well to feeling this worth when we don't feel this thing is because at one point or another we give our power to the looks, we give our power to someone opinion.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna help you to take your power as well back to all of us. You are the only one who knows the whole story. You are the only one who knows what is inside you. And maybe in the past we give our power away by denying things about ourselves, but it's time to recognize that you are the expert in you. You are the only one who knows everything. Even if you have a partner or if you have a best friend, you are the only one who knows every single thing.
Yep.
And one exercise that has helped me a lot during in the last few years is putting myself in front of the mirror. It could be at night, afternoon, whatever. I don't know when I say you have to do it before whatever. No, you can do it at any time. And just stare at yourself in the mirror and just look at yourself and say, I got you. I got you. I got this. I got you. Because let me tell you, you don't want the hug of your husband. You don't want the hug of your client. You don't want to be impressed on the internet. You don't want that. You want the approbation and the deep love that comes from within. And sometimes, and I have to say that when I did this exercise, I was not able to fully see myself like no more than 2 seconds. I was like kind of like that. Looking away from the mirror, but right now I do it and I feel really great and I feel this deep connection. Even like I said, if you have kids, if you have partners, your mind only knows you, and she wants your words. She wants this she wants your own approval. So might as well just fucking, you know what? I am the one, or I people say I am the one. What I resonate with me and sometimes made me cry is like, I got you. It's all good. It's all well. I fucking got you. And I said my name, of course, but you can say your name. And I got you. And I put just my hands on above my heart, and it's like, I got you. I got your back. And sometimes the reflection doesn't believe that because I've been putting others first or I've been criticizing myself. But it's like, I got you. And even if you
Yep.
believe this, I got you. And at
I
one
really love that.
one on one and at one point or another, and I said this all loud because at one point or another, those words will resonate with you, will resonate with that vibration. And yeah. All right, Maria. So we ask those questions. All right, if we want to leave your details here, but if someone right now is 2025 is ready to work with you, what is the best way to enter into your role? Like she can DM you. There's a website. There's a email that she can just inquire.
Yes. You can either best both ways are DM me on Instagram. This is where I'm most responsive. Or you can schedule, I have links everywhere on my website, on my Instagram. If you can find my Instagram, there's everything there. You can just book a call for free so you can have a conversation with me and understand what you actually need as a step, an action plan to move forward. I will give you my appreciation of what it looks like for you, and then you can take it yourself or we can work together. But either way, message me and we'll get that sorted.
Amazing.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much, Graciela. As usual, this is the best conversation.
We are making the best conversation here. As you may know, we're not leaving nothing behind, like from self-worth, from period, anything. Like this is an amazing, not even conversation. I think, and you're gonna agree with this, Maria. This is not even a conversation. It was kind of mix of conversation, masterclass, webinar, kind of all of this
It's a
together.
little bit of everything. Isn't that what a podcast is? A little bit of everything.
Everything. That is the style. But thank you again, and we'll see you next. Thank you so much for being here. Your presence is greatly appreciated, and it truly means a lot to me. If you could support us by leaving a 5-star review, it will help us to connect with more extraordinary and influential women like you. With that being said, thanks once again, and let's look forward to an amazing and legendary week ahead.